it is not too late. It is not too late. And I read somewhere that Miles Sampa is being lumped with me. And if that be the case, take advantage and use me. If you are failing to speak with Miles Sampa, use me. Use others. Speak to Miles Sampa. Withdraw that appeal. Let's wait for the other matters that are pending in court instead of adding more and more. We should be waiting now for the 14th and the 15th of April to have those hearings and pray that they are concluded quickly so that we have a presidential candidate on the PF, on the ballot. That is what our desire is. But now to drag ourselves through court processes, I can assure you that that which you are yearning for, you will not have it. But then you're going to let down the spirits of Michael Chilufya Sata and Edgar Chagwa Lungu. And don't blame it on others, blame it on yourselves. I would like to end by calling firstly on the ones to whom the petition was delivered to have a sit down with the petitioners so as to find a win-win solution. Those of us who petitioned are not fools. We're not fools. And the reason we didn't want that petition to go in the public domain was because we wanted this to be handled internally, as friends. And as friends, we can find a win-win situation, a win-win solution, instead of this antagonism. And I want to advise that arrogance of power is dangerous. Arrogance of power is dangerous. If you think, yes, because I have the power, I can do as I wish, and discard everybody who comes to you and tells you something, then you should know that you are facing your pit hole. Personal egos will not serve any good whatsoever. Your friends complained, listen to them. Don't discard them. Don't call them names. Like I said, for you to be accusing others, they are plotting to take over, they are plotting to take over. Take over what? If there is to be a plot to take over, we should be plotting to agree with Miles Sampa so that together we are in the PF. That's the right plot to have.
It's done.
Let me now also call upon the leadership to sit with Miles Sampa as quickly as possible to resolve these developing differences before they entangle us. And like I said, I am available for that.
Good evening, Zambia, and welcome to Spotlight. Today is the 8th of April 2026. My name is Alfred Chimba. I am your host. And indeed, we do have an interesting topic of discussion this evening. We want to find out if really the election which was held recently in the Patrick Front, rather the convention that was held, was really legitimate. And we are asking how legitimate was the election of President Makebi Zulu. Now, tonight we are not just talking about political party. We are witnessing a fight for the very soul and survival of the Patriotic Front. Last month, at a highly publicized convention, Makebi Zulu was elected president, a move many believed would finally stabilize the Green Board. But the waters have never been more turbulent, and a recent High Court ruling by Justice Concepta Chinyanywa Zulu has breathed fresh life into the Mao Sampa, validating a convention from years ago and handing him a legal hammer, which he has actually not wasted time but using it. And just yesterday, Mao Sampa swung that hammer. He dissolved the Central Committee. He has also replaced provincial chairpersons, and he has since appointed Given Lubinda, a man he believes shepherded this Patriotic Front for 5 years to lead the Pamosi Alliance. And in a stunning twist again, Lubinda has accepted questioning why his own party members are still fighting Sampa in court. So who really holds the keys of the Secretariat? And is the man with the court judgment, or is it the man with the mandate rather of the recent convention? Is the Patriotic Front being restructured, or is it being dismantled from within? These are some of the questions that we are here to find out this evening. And indeed, my guest this evening is Mr. Isaac Nsoneka. He is Makebi Zulu's spokesperson, as well as a member of the Central Committee in the Patriotic Front. Mr. Nsoneka, good evening and welcome to Spotlight. Good
evening, comrade, and good evening to fellow Zambians watching from home.
We did play that clip from the press briefing that was held today by Given Lubinda. In a nutshell, I know a lot was said as of that particular press briefing, but what is your reaction? And I think issues like the convention that was held was not based on any political party. What do you make out of that particular press briefing he held today?
Well, thank you very much, Alfred. And I think that from the onset, it's important that we, pay a glowing tribute to Honorable Given Lubinda, the Vice President of the Patriotic Front, a man who has held the reins of the party since the time we lost elections in 2021, as you remember. Immediately after losing the elections of 2021, our party president then, the Right Honorable Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, God rest his soul, did tender a resignation to have himself rest and resign from active politics after the elections of 2021. And then further, before tendering that resignation, he did step aside and appoint Honorable Given Lubinda as his vice president, and then subsequent acting president of the party, and then called for elections, for a general conference to be held where a new party leader was to be elected, as President Edgar Lungu, who had been the elected leader of our party, had wished, not to continue, so he could rest after, coming from the 2021 elections. And so the Honorable Given Lubinda has been at the helm of our party, the Patriotic Front, from about that time to until, a few weeks ago, when an elective general conference was held, which conference the Honorable Given Lubinda acknowledges that did take place under a non-name party, but the general conference was held, as it was promised to the membership of the Patriotic Front that an elective conference would be put together, would be held, and a leader would be elected from amongst those that applied to stand as presidents of our party. So really, what to make of the address? I think that we do acknowledge the positives, of course, and entirely, the positives of Honorable Given Lubinda's statement. I think that over and above, he has proven himself to yet again be a father figure by acknowledging that an election was held under his auspices then as acting president, and a leader was elected, by the party's structures and membership across the 116 district. A winner emerged, and so acknowledges that it is now time to put whatever issues that may have existed in the run-up to that election behind us and begin to chart a way forward, you know, to begin to march towards coming together for purposes of changing government. And I think that that is what is very important to note from Honorable Given Lubinda's statement.
It did. Just from that particular press briefing that was held today, Honorable Given Lubinda did make mention, rather, that he lamented that he now understands the Mingalato Promax after the convention that ushered in Makebi Zulu as president. This in itself, I believe you also followed the press briefing keenly. What do you make out of such statements, again, coming from, Mr. Lubinda?
Well, like I said to you, what we hold as a general membership of the party, and President Makebi Zulu, whom I speak for, is admiration and respect for Honorable Given Lubinda, for his sacrifices for the party and its membership. He has stood, through thin and thick, standing with the rest of the membership and leading the party. And so President Makebi Zulu acknowledges, that sacrifice of Honorable Given Lubinda. And I think that we would like to maintain that respect and that admiration for Honorable Given Lubinda. I think that an election was held, like he acknowledges himself, that an election was held, people contended, a winner emerged, and now it's time to put everything behind, rally around this one winner, this one leader who emerged as winner and now is president, and we begin to move forward. So his statement had a number of attachments, as is expected, coming from each and every election. Whenever an election is held, participants are at liberty to sometimes not be happy with the outcome of the election, and I think that even Honorable Given Lubinda himself acknowledges in his statement. And then, so that is not cause for any of us in the Patriotic Front to disparage their feelings. They feel how they feel, but now is the time for all of us to come back together and begin to move forward. As Honorable Lubinda has correctly put it, that all those who participated are at liberty to feel some type of way, but it is incumbent upon the leadership that has emerged victorious to be able to engage each and every one of those participants for the purposes of unity and moving forward, because that is what our general membership want to see. That is what our general membership wants to see. President Makebi Zulu was not elected by 3, 4, 5 people. He was elected by the general membership of the Patriotic, of our party. Okay? Was elected by the general membership of our party. And so from all the 116 districts, people sat and chose their leader. People sat and chose their leader. And so in acknowledging that, all we can say is that this election is behind us. And in agreement with the Right Honorable Given Lubinda's statement, we now put all this behind us and begin to move forward. Engagements. President Makebi Zulu, as you have seen, has been engaging opposition leaders within and outside the Patriotic Front, even after elections. President Makebi Zulu has held talks with the Right Honorable Given Lubinda before. I think that if that information is in the public domain, that is in respect and recognition of Honorable Lubinda's sacrifices and Honorable Lubinda's father figure, that status that he holds for the party. Look, regardless of the outcome of the election, for President Makebi Zulu, Honorable Lubinda will always remain a man that stood when others could not. Will always remain a man that led when others could not lead. Now, in that leadership, there's always, in a democracy, my good brother, there's always people who are happy and unhappy with the way things are going.
But let's look at the legal reality here, Mr. Nsoneka. Understanding that the High Court has explicitly ruled that Mao Sampa's conviction was valid, and I believe in the eyes of the law he is a president. But if you are coming out strong again, and of course recognizing or maybe failing to recognize Mr. Mao Sampa as a president, on what grounds are you and President Makebi Zulu operating on as we speak today?
Well, I'm not sure I understand what you mean when you are talking about recognition. Because I don't think that even the Right Honorable Mao Sampa has asked anybody to recognize him as anything. I don't think that there's been any appeal for recognition. And as such, I don't see how you are indicting us or indicting my president, Honorable Makebi Zulu, of refusing to recognize Honorable Mao Sampa.
Yeah.
So the fact of the matter is that this particular matter of the Patriotic Front is in the courts of law, my good brother. Still very active in the courts of law. As you are very aware, I want to assume that you are aware that there was even an appeal to the effect of the recent ruling by Judge C.C. Zulu, which means this is an ongoing matter in the courts of law. And on that basis, I would rather not spend a lot of time discussing a matter that is in court, because I don't want neither you or myself, to page ourselves in the process. This is a matter that is still very active in the courts of law. Like I told you, Honorable Makebi Zulu emerged as a winner at the no-name convention that was held. As you know, the party had indicated that it would go to a general conference under a no-name party because of the obvious. Because of the obvious. I think that it is not even a hidden fact, the issues that we've had in the Patriotic Front and what is happening, and the very visible hand of those that are in government with regards to sustaining this, so-called confusion that you people like to talk about that is in the PF. And so on that particular basis, the fact is that we have a leader now who was elected by the majority of the party leadership and the party structures across the 116 districts. And so the people spoke, they chose a leader, and this leader has already begun to operate. He has already begun to operate. He has already begun to mobilize the party structures across the country. You have seen the Right Honorable Chanda Kabwe, our party's national chairman for mobilization, has been on the Copper Belt, mobilizing our structures on the Copper Belt. Myself, I've been in Central Province, mobilizing our structures in that particular province to assert ourselves and make sure that we are ready to compete in the coming election and win it, which we know that President Makebi Zulu is going to win. So at the end of the day, what matters is, as Honorable Given Dubinda has put it, the election is behind us. The party leadership, everybody in the party agreed that we would hold a convention under a no-name party.
Is this information so really, was it laid out to the 116 districts that you're talking about now? Because I believe most Zambians are getting to know about the non-party convention, or maybe that was held as a new thing, or you people in the party, were you privy to this to say, our members know that we're going for a convention, and obviously this convention, we're going to hold it on a non-party alliance?
Well, you see, our members knew what was happening, because our members are very much aware of what is happening to our party with regards to the court issues that we're going through. They all recognize what we are going through, and they recognize where it is coming from. They know how vicious those that are in government are towards the PF, how much they don't want to see the PF on the ballot paper. Our general membership is aware of that. And so when I tell you that Honorable Makebi Zulu is a leader who was elected by a popular vote, I mean all the 116 districts. Our party structures formed an electoral college, and then people voted, and Honorable Makebi Zulu emerged as winner of that particular election. So when I say that elections were held in all the 116 districts, then how else, or then I really struggle to see the relevance of the question with regards to the information to the general membership. They are very much aware, because they participated in this particular process. They formed the electoral college. They formed together as delegates the people who elected the leader, our party structures in all the 116 districts. So the question really of whether they were informed or not, I don't see it arising,
because I think this is coming as a new thing today, in the process, especially that from the press briefing that Given Dubinda held today, and obviously that's where it had to land on the many Zambians. So okay, so the convention that was held was not really held on the Patriot Front as really a bigger party in it, but obviously on a non-party in that convention. And also the question is that why is President Makebi Zulu still holding on to the title now as president if this is being stripped away by the courts? Looking at, yes, you mentioned the issue still before the courts, but why do you think this issue is still being stripped away? His presidency is still being questioned now.
Well, I don't really know who is questioning his presidency. I don't really know who's questioning his presidency. And I like that you keep referring to the Right Honorable Given Lubinda's address today.
Yeah.
Now I want you and me to agree that both of us have watched Honorable Given Lubinda's address to the nation today. And in that address, Honorable Given Lubinda acknowledges that an election was held. The party leadership came together and agreed that we would hold an elective conference under a no-name party, which means that the whole Central Committee sat and agreed that this is how we would proceed. Everyone who was a member of Central Committee at the time sat and agreed that we would proceed to hold an election under a no-name party for purposes of the issues that are currently prevailing, issues that our members are well aware of, the issues that we have in courts that seem to be unending. In that particular address, Honorable Lubinda acknowledges that the election was held and a winner emerged. And so I really don't see where the question of legitimacy is coming from. Who is questioning that legitimacy? Because from where I stand, all of us in the Patriotic Front acknowledge that we held an election and a winner emerged, and that we have a leader who has hit the ground running. I am just from telling you of some of the activities that are currently happening. We have moved on to mobilizing our party, positioning strategically for the election, and of course engaging with other
ignore the fact that
parties.
we understand the Patriot Front right now. Yes, you might say there was a convention that was held, but still to it is that people like Chabinga have continued saying or claiming they are the rightful owners of the party. He is actually the rightful president of the party, and he has the rightful papers of the party. So if we're going to play, maybe to the gallery to say there's nothing like who is questionable or who is maybe a flag bearer of the Patriot Front, there are these people that we understand are also claiming to be presidents as we stand now today.
My brother, leadership is not self-acclaimed. Leadership is appointment by people. The people appoint you, or the people choose you to lead them. The people choose you to lead them. The names that you are mentioning of who is now Chabinga and all those things, the people that you people at Crown TV seem to like very much, I really wonder, because the fact of the matter is that leadership has to have a mandate from the people. I come here speaking, representing a leader who has a mandate from all our party structures across the 116 districts, across all the 156 current 156 constituencies, because there was representation from each and every constituency of the Republic of Zambia. Because unlike other political parties, our party has got structures across the country, has got structures in all the 116 districts, all the 156 constituencies, and all the wards of our country. We have structures there. And so the leadership from those particular structures came together and elected a leader. That is the basis upon which I speak with confidence. That is a leadership that engulfs Honorable Makebi Zulu. So the people that you are talking about, that you as Crown TV recognize as leaders, as presidents.
No, these are people that have
I don't know where
briefings, they've gone on interviews.
I honestly wouldn't want to
loudly told the nation that they hold, they're rather they are holding the Patriot Front.
Well, you see, unfortunately, my brother, I think that I am schooled enough to know what leadership means and what forms leadership. What forms leadership is a mandate given by the people. Going to the registrar of societies, changing names at midnight of office bearers, you know, getting fingerprints cleared on a Saturday, on a weekend, does not make you a leader. What makes a leader is what happened a few weeks ago, where delegates drawn from the 116 districts of Zambia voted for a leader. That is what makes you a leader. It is not by appointment between Alfred's and Sons International Limited. You appoint yourselves as the leaders of the party. No, no, no. It doesn't work like that. So I wouldn't even really want to spend time talking about those people, because as far as I know, leadership is identified by a mandate that is given to such a one who calls themselves a leader by the people. Makebi was elected by the people, and so Makebi is the leader.
But when we look at the 2026 deadline, Mr. Nsoneka, understand also with the general election fast approaching, the Party Front right now, as we speak, seems to be, you know, split in about 3 or 4. But what are your chances of winning this August election if we continue to see this drama quickly unfolding in the Patriotic Front?
Well, you see, my good brother, the Patriotic Front now has an elected leader who, as you may know, if you are aware, I want to believe that you are aware because you follow what happens in our country, has already hit the ground running, like I said, who has already begun engaging you know, other leaders within the Patriotic Front and outside the Patriotic Front, because we recognize, as a party, we recognize that we are not stronger in isolation. We are stronger when we band together with other people. You get what I'm saying? We are stronger when we band together with other people. That is why our president, the Right Honorable Makebi Zulu, has been engaging other leaders within the Patriotic Front that seem to have been dissatisfied with the way some of the things were going and left the party. Others are still within the party, but with concerns. He's been engaging each and every one of those leaders for purposes of unity, because he believes that the party is only stronger when its leadership works as one. I agree with you. In isolation, none of us is strong. We are all stronger when we band together. We are all stronger when we band together. And I want to just provide some sort of a background. This is not the first time that this has happened, you know, to our party, where a leader passes on in the absence of a clear, you know, or transition or a clear structure of succession. And issues have risen. People have expressed interest to stand, because unlike other political parties, we in the party are very democratic. The party that we are very democratic people. You know, you get to have 10, 11 people vying to contest the party leadership, the party presidency. You know, that is the height of democracy. And in that particular process, like I said, each and every contest that is held, you do not expect everybody to agree. There will always be disagreements. But what makes us stronger as a party, what makes this president unique, is that he recognizes the need to unite everybody. He recognizes the need to reach out to each and every one of those who contended in the election, who contested in the election, and even the bigger opposition family. I mean the other political parties, for purposes of coming together, forming one single line, and be able to move forward and be able to challenge Mr. Hakainde Hichilema and remove him successfully from office, so that this country can be restored, you know, to its greatness. Because right now it's really a country that is in shambles and it needs restoration. And Makebi Zulu provides that kind of leadership.
Claiming that this country is in shambles, Mr. Nsoneka?
This country is in shambles, my good brother, in many areas. I would just cite you one area of economics. Our economy is literally crashing.
But it's being led by an economist himself. Well, so you're saying he's failing?
There's your answer. The fact that the economist who's currently leading our country is failing is a statement of fact, and I thank you for bringing it out. It's a statement of fact. And so on that basis, I want to assume that you agree that this country needs restoration. It needs to be restored. Zambians cannot continue to be buying midi meal at 450 kwacha in a country that is led by economists. Zambians cannot continue.
Which places, areas? I know the question will
Zambians cannot continue to be buying fuel at 31 kwacha per liter. That is unheard of. that is not a country whose economy is functioning properly. That all those are some of the things that need to be worked on in order for this country to be successfully restored. This country's record of democracy is slowly being crushed. Is slowly being crushed to ashes.
Mr.
Because
Nsoneka,
now
I understand that supporters of this administration, the UPND administration, will not spare you if you claim that milli meal price is as high as 450, and people are still buying fuel at 31 kwacha. Are you able to point where exactly people are buying a 450?
My brother, people are buying fuel at 31 kwacha. That's a statement of fact. I don't know which vehicle you drive. But even me, who doesn't drive a vehicle from Katuba, who gets on buses from Chombela to come to Crown TV here, I'll tell you that in a distance where I'm supposed to pay less than 10 kwacha, I'm made to pay 35 kwacha. Because the bus driver is telling me that he's buying his diesel at 30 kwacha. He's buying his diesel at 30 point, is it 30.9 or thereabout? Or is it 31 kwacha? So if you don't see those as issues that hinder the growth of our economy, then I really shudder to wonder which country you are living in.
You don't appreciate that. You don't appreciate that Zambia's currency right now,
record highest price ever. There's never been a time in this country when millimil has been sold at above 300 kwacha. It has only happened in this economy that is being run by those that you people glorify as economists. Other than that, it's never happened before. Even under our leadership as a patriotic front, we that you people seem to want to demonize so much as having been bad leaders, we never let a bag of millimil skyrocket to that high, because we were considerate of the plight of the Zambian people and ensured that we put measures in place to ensure that no matter how hard the times may be, global economics at play, our people had to have some sort of relief. And we ensured that that had to happen. And so when I talk about restoration, the restoration of our country that President Makebi Zulu and his peers in the opposition are coming to do, these are things that I'm talking about.
Is this achievable, what you're telling the Zambian people this evening, that you are really going to restore this country to the heights that you are mentioning? Because we were once promised, Mr. Nsoneka, that fuel pump prices were going to drop to as low as, I don't know if it's 10, 15 kwacha, and now you're mentioning... Have
you ever taken time to hold those that made you those promises to account? You don't hold them accountable. And they continue to roam these streets and act like they are doing the correct thing because you have failed to hold them accountable.
But do you also appreciate that...
You, especially you, as the media, you as Crown TV, have failed to hold them accountable because they made promises to the Zambian people that they would lower the price of fuel to 12 kwacha or less than that. That they would be buying, that the Zambian people will be buying a bag of millimil at 50 kwacha. The Zambian people were promised that they will be buying a bag of fertilizer at 150 kwacha. Today, the bag of fertilizer is at the record highest. You can't buy a bag of fertilizer for anything less than 1,000 or less than 900 kwacha anymore.
How much will a Zambian buy a bag of millimil under Makebi Zulu's administration?
Well, I think that is not what we are discussing. I think that is not...
no, because you brought it up.
That is not the question that
I understand.
I need to answer. Because you see, the thing with us is that we are not here to make promises.
Okay.
We are not here to make promises.
But if you say you're going to restore...
We are trying to help you, help the Zambians at home, hold those in government accountable. We are trying to help you, help those at home, hold those that are in government accountable by pointing out the things that have not been done and making a commitment to you that President Makebi and his colleagues in the opposition are coming to restore the country. Things have to be done better. We have been here before as a Patriotic Front government. We have been in government before. We were in government ourselves before this government. Things were not this bad. That is the assurance that I'm trying to give you, that unlike those who may not have experience, we are coming with a team of highly experienced people who have been in government before, who understand what needs to be done to be able to cushion an economy that the people can have some relief. Unfortunately, it's not happening right now. I don't know whether it's due to inexperience or whatever that you would call it. But then the fact is that the country is not moving at a trajectory that it is supposed to be moving. This is not the trajectory.
Do you appreciate that the external forces, like the war in the Middle East, do you appreciate that these are some of the factors that are affecting, things like, the fuel pump price now?
My good brother, the war in the Middle East has been going on since before you and me were born. Do you know that? Do you know?
I'm listening.
I want us to have a conversation. Do you agree that the war in the Middle East has been going on since before you and me were born? Because I want to assume that you and me could actually be age mates. The war in the Middle East has been going on since before you and me were born. The war in the Middle East was going on throughout the whole tenure time of of the Patriotic Front in office. The war was going on perhaps throughout the whole 20 years of the MMD in government. The war was always going on. The war was going on. But we had leadership that had foresight. We had leadership that planned ahead. That is what leadership should be. That is a kind of leadership that Makebi Zulu offers. Leadership that is able to plan ahead. Leadership that is able to put measures to cushion a situation that might occur. Because you can't just sit here and assume that the people in the Middle East will stop fighting because you have elected Mr. Hakainde Hichilema as your president. They will stop fighting because you have a leader who has promised that they will lower the prices of fuel. When the UPND promised Zambians that they would lower the prices of fuel to 10 kwacha, or is it 8 kwacha or 12 kwacha, they didn't know that there was a war going on in the Middle East. Because I'm telling you that war in the Middle East has always been going on. Forget about America bombing or Israel bombing Iran recently. The wars have always been going on in the Middle East. The people of the Middle East have always lived like that. And those are the suppliers, the largest suppliers of this oil that we are using. So you can't honestly give that as an excuse for failure to provide leadership. Every leader, even you in your home, you plan ahead. You plan ahead. You don't go home buying Pamela every day. The perception you buy a 25 kg bag of millimil that you can predict that in your family, maybe a family of 3-4 people, you are able to predict that if we buy a 25 kg bag of millimil and a 10 kg bag of rice, these will last us for the next 30 days. That is planning ahead. That is leadership. Going home every day, buying a Pamela for you to cook shima, for madam to cook shima this evening, and then tomorrow there is no millimil, you again start looking for money to buy another Pamela, that is failure to lead. And that is what we are seeing happening right now. You can't blame it on the war. It is not an excuse to say that there's a war in the Middle East. So if the war doesn't end, then what happens? We all perish. You have to plan ahead. You have to plan ahead. Millimil has been expensive from the time these guys took over government, because the first thing they did when they came into government was sell all the maize that we had in the reserves. Give permits to cadres to export maize outside the country. UPND cadres were swimming in money. All of them suddenly became an FRA agent. All of them suddenly became a maize dealer. They were selling maize everywhere in the region. It's not accusation. It's not accusations
to claim that
this is information that is there in the public domain.
That they became agents.
This is information that is there in the public domain. Go to FRA and ask for records of who was given permits to draw maize from FRA and export. They will show you the people who were buying those maize, who were getting that maize from FRA, even without making a single deposit. They will show you who was drawing that maize and selling it to whoever. It's very simple. You are a journalist. You can simply walk to FRA tomorrow. If you prefer to not drive there, you can take a walk there, since you are not very far from the light industrial area, to go and make that inquiry. They will give you that information, and you will see for yourself.
Mr. Nsoneka, the perception that is there is that you people in the opposition, I think the bigger issue, or maybe that you are raising, is that you just want to unseat President Hakainde Hichilema, but without offering solutions, or maybe hinting much on some of the alternatives that you are going to provide for the many Zambians. What is your take on that?
My good brother, the style of politics is that you have to segment your approach. The segmentation of everything. even at what point a political there's a time that a political party manifesto is launched to the public, that the people can be given a manifesto of your political party going to elections. For instance, it's a mandate. You have to have a manifesto going to an election. You have to hold a convention before going to an election. Those are mandates, requirements by law. Okay? So, I've heard this particular question quite a lot, of the only plan you have is to remove HH. Well, if HH is the problem, why not remove him?
So you feel he's the problem?
The problem, my good brother, starts from the top. You change government by removing a bad president, a president that you have identified as being bad for the country. That is who you remove. That is who you remove. They don't remove you. They don't plan to remove you in 5 years if you are a good president. They do not do that. They plan to remove you when they think you are slowing the country's progress down. And so to begin to think that, or peddle a narrative that, oh, they have no plan, the only plan they have is to remove HH. Yes, that is plan number one. Has this incumbent
really failed, according to you?
That is plan number one.
Like there's nothing that you can't point out to say
I want to first exhaust on why I'm telling you that the plan number one, so that we can answer this question once and for all. Yes, the plan number one is to remove President HH from State House, because he's the one at the top and government exists around him. You change government by doing what? Removing a president. You don't change government by removing MPs and leaving a president, because the top is the executive. He literally is government. So who do you want us to plan to remove if it is not HH who is in government? If it was not HH, if it was another person who was in government, who was being a bad leader, who was a leader, who was a president that is proving to be retrogressive, a president that is proving to be a problem, that is, causing Zambians to suffer, that president has to be removed, regardless of which name that person bears, regardless of which region one comes from. Because I know that when we say that we need to remove President HH because he has failed to run the affairs of our country, he has failed to run our economy, he has failed to uphold the tenets of democracy, he has failed to respect and uphold the tenets of the rule of law, he has failed to appreciate and leave the judiciary independent, and all these three arms of government and other institutions failed to run effectively. It doesn't matter which name you bear, but when you become a bad leader, the people must undertake steps to remove you and replace you with a leadership that they feel that can do better.
When you mention democracy,
so to remove
Mr. Nsoneka, you are here freely expressing yourself using the very democracy that is provided under this leadership. So why are you saying, why are you criticizing that there's no democracy?
And you see, this is your problem. Okay, this is your problem. That you seem to think that we must be grateful to the UPND somehow for this time that we're having here. We don't have to be grateful to them. We don't have to be grateful to them. They didn't create freedom of speech. They found it. All they had to do as those running government was uphold it.
Okay.
All they had to do was uphold it. So you can't use that example as wanting to justify the fact that our democratic space has been shrinking. There's never been a time. If you want us to discuss that issue, we can go ahead and discuss it. And I'll tell you for fact, there's never been a time in Zambia where there's been so much interference in political parties visibly by those in government as it is happening right now.
Mr. Nsoneka, soon enough we should be bringing phone calls. But before we go to the phone calls, I want you to put it on record. I had mentioned the legitimacy gap, and of course you were questioning when we mentioned legitimacy, what does it mean and what not. Indeed, you claim Makebi Zulu, your president, was popularly elected last month.
I don't claim. It's a statement of fact.
And in that case, Mausamba says he didn't contest because of the active court cases, and these are the very cases he has now won. Now, doesn't that make your convention a fruit from, a poisonous tree in that regard? And really, how can it be legitimate if the illegal president wasn't involved?
Like I said to you, my good brother, the party's central committee sat and decided that we would hold an elective general conference under a no-name party, on a no-name basis, for obvious reasons. Okay? For obvious reasons. And I'll keep referring to the fact that Honorable Given Lubinda, the vice president of our party, correctly put it, that the party agreed, the leadership agreed. The leadership for which he was chair, the central committee for which he was chair at the time, sat and agreed that we must hold an elective general conference under a no-name party so that we can give our party structures, our party functionaries a leader, because our party demanded that they needed a leader to edge them forward. And so that process was held. Anything else that you want to bring in, I really don't see it arise, because really, like I said, the party's highest organ, central committee, sat and agreed.
Okay.
They sat and agreed that we would hold an elective general conference under a no-name party. And that is what happened. Elections were held, and a leadership that emerged has been acknowledged. So I really don't see how that question really should arise. The question of legitimacy and whatnot, I don't see it arising, because, like I said, the central committee sat and decided that we would hold an elective conference under a no-name. And even the Right Honorable Mao Sampa that you keep referring to is a member of Central Committee, was a member of that Central Committee that sat and made that agreement. He himself was a participant in that election. He himself was a participant in that election until he withdrew at some point, as is his democratic right. There were 11 people that applied to stand to contest the party presidency, as you are aware. 11 of them. But at the time of the election, there had only remained about 6 candidates, because the others opted to withdraw, and support others. And the election was held, acknowledged acknowledged the fact that a new leader was elected. And so we're moving forward in that particular direction. President Makebi has already begun the process of engaging. He's engaging with all our party leaders that you people may think are aggrieved. Is engaging with all of them to ensure that we all come together and form one accord for purposes of us changing government. And being, you see, we have always been known to be a strong party. We've always been known to be a strong party, to be the biggest opposition. There are many other opposition political parties. For us to be able to dialogue, work together with other opposition political parties, we must be seen to be united amongst ourselves. And President Makebi has already begun that particular process of uniting everybody, bringing everybody together, talking to each and every one of our leaders that may be aggrieved for one reason or two. That's why you saw the moment that he was elected, his first decree was to annul the expulsions and suspensions that were made, extending amnesty and recalling all of those that may have left out of frustration, recalling everybody, including the Right Honorable Brian Mundubile, who went to FDD and Tonse, recalling everybody, because he believes that we are only stronger when we are united.
Mr. Nsoneka, let's bring in a few calls. So let's go straight into accommodating our first caller this evening. We do have Mr. Isaac Nsoneka. He is Makebi Zulu's spokesperson, as well as member of the Central Committee in the Party Front. The number is on your screen. Let's hear your contribution this hour. Your name and where are you calling us? Hello?
Hello.
Yes, good evening.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. Your name and where are you calling us from?
Yes, how are you? This is Nsoneka.
Mr.
Nsoneka Victor.
Muchaneta, yes. Go ahead with your contribution or question.
Yes, sir. Actually, those people, let's not even just talk of violence, because they will remind us what has happened in PF. And there's only given Rwanda, we are giving just the people who died because of their money. These retirees. Len was learning. Rwanda was ignoring and going in his office, not even just to encourage those people. If they want to campaign, let them just even talk to manifest, not even just say UPNB violence. No. Some other people, they still have Indian. The Indian, we still remember what has happened in PF. Okay? Let them just talk up manifesto, not even just talk at UPND.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Victor. We appreciate for adding a voice. Good evening. Your name? What are you calling us from?
Hello, good evening, sir.
Good evening. Your name?
I'm Tony. I'm calling you from Zimba.
Mr. Tony, yes, go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, kwali ba muntu akwati uyu muntu na muntu ati uyu muntu aba kuchipanicha so imachiteni so imwabali yapo bakaramba apa bwebo tuliba bachipanicho mukwete mwevo but echo ndefa tutana kwati imwe na mundubire mufire mwabomba chapamo mufire mwabomba chapamo between Makebi Zulu and mundubire umbia fira wa vice president nisi kupita febo apana silipo hapa.
Okay.
Once between mundubire and Makebi Zulu umbia fira wa vice president apana silipo ababa renda wale posa penista.
All right.
No, sorry, Jinjakare. Between you and Makebi Zulu, Makebi Zulu and nani uyu mundubire umbia fira vice president umbia fira president chapa even ngalanda po.
Thank you so much. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let's accommodate 2 more calls and then we call it a night. Good evening. Hello. Good evening. All right. Let's accommodate another one. Good evening.
Hello. Good evening, Alfred.
Good evening, Petronella.
Okay, so I just want to find out what the manifesto is for that party. I don't know what party it is, because it's a nameless party. What's the manifesto?
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Well taken note. And our last caller, good evening.
Yes, good evening.
Yes, your name, where are you calling us from?
I'm Mr. Mwindi calling you from Mumbwa.
Yes.
Yeah, what I can say, sir, that gentleman there, you know, there is no way he says we want to remove HH. It is us, Zambians, who can remove. We put HH through our ballot, through the ballot. And removing, not him saying we want to remove. No. I just want to echo on their manifesto. What is he going to do on free education?
Okay.
What is he going to do on CDF? The plan he has, that man talking there.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mwinji. Due to time,
we are talking to 18 million Zambians. Please talk what we must understand, not what you are talking.
Okay, thank you so much. We appreciate. Mr. Nsoneka, people have commented, and unfortunately these are the only ones that we had to comment, to accommodate. Petronella wants to know your manifesto, and it says since you're coming from a non-party, according to her. Mr. Mwinji is questioning over the manifesto as well. Yeah, so maybe just your response to
Mr. Mwinji is also saying that it is not us. We shouldn't say we want to remove Mr. HH. Only the Zambians should say that they want to remove HH. I don't know who told Mr. Mwinji that I am from Angola or from Djibouti. I'm equally a Zambian. We are all Zambians. Yeah. We are all Zambians like himself. Yeah. And we have resolved in our majority that we are changing government. That come August 13th, we are retiring Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, and we are bringing in a young man, at that time, only 44 years of age, for the first time in the history of our country, not really for the first time. He will be the second youngest to President KK when he took office in 1964, in Honorable Makebi Zulu, and we'll see that happen. And I know that in the remaining few months to the election, and with the way the government that Mr. Mwinji supports is failing to do things, even he will be converted at that
Your quick
time,
response to Petronella,
to vote for President
Makebi
and dump his own people. Petronella talks about the manifesto.
Since you're coming from another party.
Tony says Brian Mundubide and Makebi should work together. someone talked about violence and other things which I don't see their relevance to this conversation, because I don't think that was an issue that rose at any given time. Issues of Honorable Makebi working together with Honorable Brian Mundubile, like I have said, and Honorable Makebi Zulu himself, our president, has repeatedly said he is engaging each and every leader in the opposition for purposes of working together, because he recognizes the fact that we are only stronger when we all band together and move together in one single, file, that we can be able to galvanize enough votes to change government, because he realizes the need that Zambians have to change government. Zambians are pressed to limits, and they need a change of government. And we provide to you a young man, only 44 years of age. It's about time, again, that Zambia has a young leader.
Due to time, I know there's a lot that we could have covered as well, but thank you so much for making it this evening, and to you, our dear viewers, for making time and tuning to Spotlight. Remember, we are back on a Monday at exactly 20 hours, and I've been your host. My name is Alfred Chimba. Enjoy the rest of the evening and have a lovely night. Good night.